Welcome to the Pirate Broadcast, where we interview interesting people doing interesting things, where you can expand your connections, your community. Kindness is cool and smiles are free. And let's get this party started. And it's a beautiful day for the Pirate Broadcast, and I welcome you to join us 5 days a week on LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, through Periscope, and also even Facebook. So we're live streaming, and likes, comments, shares are always welcome, and I'd love to have you join us. And if you're watching this in the future at another time, just make sure that you reach out, make the connections to the pirate community, and stay involved and engaged in what we're doing. We love to share interesting people doing interesting things. And today we're talking to Tyler Nelson, who happens to be in an industry that it's dependent on travel to a certain extent, and also, a little more technical. And so it's an interesting twist on what is going on today in this world. And so I want to talk to Tyler and get his take on what's happening today in the world of travel and some of the things that he's doing with his business. So Tyler, thank you so much for being here. You're now officially a pirate, so you can actually make some connections with the pirate community and get involved and engaged. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Russ. Thank you for having me. It's great to be a pirate, and I am overjoyed the fact that everybody's turned in for about 30 minutes of hair advice from both of us. So this ought to go really well. So If you tune in for that, you're into the right place, and we're going to completely steer you in the wrong direction because look at the two of us. So there's that. So Thank you for having me.
Well, my decision in the morning is how do I part my hair? It's like,
you're right. See, and I just tell my wife that this is not a shine off of my head, that this is my halo. Exactly. And she gives me the side eye and doesn't believe me.
She's going, okay, Tyler. So we want to talk about a little bit. We were talking before the show, and we were talking about how challenging it is right now in the pandemic. And I heard on the news the other day that United was like shutting down lots of flights. And your job, a lot of times you go out and train individuals and you train companies on instrumentation, and it's fairly travel dependent. And so how have you watched this last year evolve and kind of change throughout your journey this year? And did we lose Tyler? Oh, we dropped Tyler. So hopefully he can come back and answer the question. Don't fear. We didn't scare him away. It's just a technical issue. It's Friday. Today is Friday. It depends on when you watch this. Could be the internet is tired. I don't know. It's just one of those things. So hopefully we'll get him back. And in the meantime, I want you to understand that the Pirate Broadcast is here for you. You're the individual that has an opportunity to actually join us and be engaged and involved in the comments and the community. And I'm looking at the comments, and I'm not even sure we're broadcasting. Are we broadcasting? Have we been broadcasting? What's the deal? There's 4 people watching. It looks like there's some people watching. And I just, so I'm anticipating that it's going on. Let me check it on my phone. Howard Kaufman, good morning, Pirates. Yes, people are in the room. So we're going to try to get a hold of, try to get back with Tyler Nelson and have him join us on the Pirate Broadcast. Howard, I hope you're well this morning. I hope you're having a great day and looking forward to a wonderful weekend, a fantastic Friday, and a wonderful weekend. I love the way that sounds. Excuse me. But I do have lots of things to accomplish over the weekend as well. So it's not as if. Got you on LinkedIn and YouTube. Thank you for the update on that, Howard. Yeah, apparently the guest today is having some difficult times, so we'll just wing it until he gets back, which is not a big deal. So some of the things I want to talk about today with Tyler was the fact that I heard on the news that a lot of the airlines are, shifting flights, canceling ways to, travel to destinations. I also see where Southwest is still offering discounts on flights. And Tyler, before the show, we were talking, and he was suggesting that how the airports are ghost towns, and getting through security is really, really simple. And it just kind of makes me wonder how sustainable that model is, and how long, because you still have to staff the individuals, the people have to show up, the businesses, the people that are catering food in the airports, people that are doing all this business. How are they evolving? What's the challenges that they have? How are they able to staff their locations and allow people the opportunity to purchase food when they need it, or refresh the food that is in the racks and availability? And it's just one of those things that you just have to wonder how long they can hold on and what they can do with that. So I'm just curious if you have any experience. Good morning, Patrick. How are you today? I thank you so much for being here. I love the fact that you're here. I'm looking forward to having Tyler come back. And so in the meantime, we'll just talk about the idea and the opportunity that there are people out there doing some great work. There are some people out there that are still challenged by this pandemic and these changes in our environment. And I know the rest of the world is being locked down as well. I've reached out to a lot of friends, and there's a lot of people giving feedback that they are on lockdown. The restaurants are shutting down. Businesses are closing. And I just encourage everyone to stick together and, encourage each other and support each other, and make a difference in somebody's life today. It's one of those things. I think Howard says, great question on travel, particularly when you think about your point earlier in the week about longer COVID horizon. Yeah, it's one of those things, Howard, that I know that there's a lot of business owners that are changing. And my business, I've been a remote worker for 10 years. So my lifestyle hasn't been disrupted like a lot of individuals have. And my heart goes out, and my empathy, I have empathy for the individuals that are really struggling in their business, holding on, the mom and pop shops and the restaurants and things like that are not able to gain traction. I know that I talked to one business owner at a restaurant, and he said 70% of his business was takeout now. So they said they were doing well because of the takeout. So those individual businesses that have been able to adapt and adjust their meals and their takeouts and their delivery schedules and things like that are really going to go. Hopefully they're doing well, and they're thriving. However, in the industry where travel is dependent, you have a lot of hard costs. Buildings, lights, utilities, all of those things. And so if you're in that industry and you're in that arena, I'd love to have a conversation with you and talk about that. So, get some feedback. I also know that there's probably going to be some changes. I know we have an election. I don't know if anybody's been. I don't know what that's going to look like. I can't even turn on the news anymore because it's not because I don't care. Not because I don't care. I do care. It's more about how we can actually understand and appreciate that changes will take place. Changes are taking place. And there are certain groups of individuals that hopefully will understand and appreciate that there are changes, whatever change that is, or not, and then accept it. You know, I'm just, I don't know how you feel. If you have an opinion about you know, changes in the world and how you adapt, and because becoming resilient and accepting what is a powerful tool that allows you to, you know, focus on what is important in your life, important in your day, and making sure that you have an opportunity to improve who you were yesterday. I mean, you know, we talked a lot about this show. We talked a lot about the idea that there are lifestyles that are being created as a result of this change. There are things that we are letting go of that are really no longer serving us as a part of this change. There are things that are positive as a result of this change. And if we lean into this opportunity to evolve and appreciate what is going on around us in a way that is productive rather than destructive, I think we'll end up becoming more in alignment with what we need to do to become better individuals. And as better individuals, we can actually add more positive energy to the rest of the community. You know, it's like that one friend, every time you hear from them, they're complaining about something, or something's broken, or something's not working. And it's like, it just drains you. It just drains the conversation. It drains the energy. And it's not enjoyable. I mean, I'm not saying every day has to be a unicorn or rainbows. However, you have an opportunity to become something better. What is it that you want to do? What is it that you want to become? How do you want to change? How are you evolving? How are people evolving around you? Those are questions that I have. And I hope that Tyler's okay. I mean, he came in, everything was good, and then all of a sudden, maybe his power went out. Who's lost power in the last little while? So let's talk about something a little lighter. Now that we're here, just you and I. There's Tyler. He's coming back in.
I apologize for that. The Wi-Fi in my whole street basically went down for a few minute snippet of time. So
that's okay.
Yeah. So
I was carrying the show, and like we almost got it. We almost got it down. So.
So anyway, how have you been? I'm only kidding. Go ahead.
Exactly. So Tyler, you know, the reality is this is exactly how 2020 rolls. You know, yes. It's like you get on a show. The next thing
I think Comcast caught COVID for a second. I don't know.
So we were talking about travel and some of the adventures that you go through and what you've seen in the last little while. And I can fascinating echo. If you exit and come back in, that will probably go away.
For me, or someone's getting.
Just a user in the.
Gotcha.
One of the pirates in the community here.
Gotcha.
So I just given a an opportunity for him to improve it. He goes, interesting echo, fascinating echo is what he said. So welcome back.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So we started off on the conversation about talking about the idea of travel in this treacherous territory of 2020 and how it started out and how it's ending out. And so right now, you're going to put the pause on travel for the moment. And when do you anticipate going back to traveling?
Well, I'm hoping to go back sometime after Thanksgiving. As we had talked right before we went on air, I've been on the road 5 of the last 7 weeks. I felt very safe, but as I mentioned earlier, that I was within a couple of hours of entering into a facility to do a presentation that had 2 positive tests, and they had to shut it down and sanitize it. So they got a little bit scary. So the intention is to get there after Thanksgiving and hopefully be back on the road again, depending on the state of affairs. Because my territory is all the Americas, but I predominantly travel in the United States. So I'm hoping to get back out there. But if not, we have another option at Sauermann. We're on the virtual platforms. So I've been doing webinars. And I've been doing webinars right when COVID hit. We had plans to put this into place prior to COVID, but I've been doing them ever since then. And I do one on combustion, which is what we'll be talking a little bit about a little bit later on, and the impacts of combustion in the contracting world and safety and everything else. But I also do one on refrigeration for Sauermann, and they've become very, very popular, and we've gotten wonderful feedback. So, it's kind of like when one door closes, another one opens, or if a door closes, you find the alternate entry point, which is what we've done. And we are in the process of making that even better and trying to next level that and trying to keep our training leading the field, so to speak.
Well, so many people have been, the Zoom use has gone up considerably in the last number of months, and it seems to increase. And a lot of people, either they fight it or they thrive in it.
Right.
And I know a lot of people, they're talking about Zoom fatigue.
Yes.
Or webinar fatigue. And they
say webinars now are 4-letter word, and we've changed our tune to be calling it virtual training, because you have to admit a lot of the webinars that people are attending, and it's like Ben Stein in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. It's Bueller. It's that kind of Proctor, and people are tuned in for the first 5 minutes, and they're like, you know what? I'm going to go, write my memoirs, or I'm going to go to the store and kind of leave it on and come back to it later and then see where we're at, type thing. And the goal is to create enough proper content and have enough of a personality on the other end of the camera, so to speak, that you actually retain everybody. And we've had industry leading retainership throughout the entire world, because not only are my webinars, my company's webinars shown domestically, they're also viewed internationally, because we're an international company, and we have we are leading the field. There's certain watchdogs out there that report to us that have reported to us saying, listen, you're in the top 2% of the world's retainage for people that tune in and don't tune out until the very end. And one of the things that helps that along is that when I'm doing these things, they're not product heavy, they are content heavy. So we're actually teaching people something that they can actually take away and use as soon as they get off of the webinar, whether they're using my product or someone else's product. So we think that we've hit a nice sweet spot there, and those that have walked before me have done a very good job of developing that, and I've made it my own, and I've carried the torch. But I don't forget those that have done it before me, and they've done an exceptional job, and I appreciate that.
Well, it does take an enormous amount of talent to create technical content and keep people involved and engaged in the class. And it's a lot of, when you're live, you have some interaction. You can ask questions and see reactions in individuals, face to face immediately. You get the body, it's like, okay, somebody's sleeping in their chair. You can kind of get them back up. However, in live interactions, apparently we're having a bad echo on in LinkedIn. How could you try to go over on if you would, see if you can check out and see if the same problem is happening over on YouTube. If you can go to YouTube, go to my YouTube channel. I can see if that works. Because that's disappointing. Because, technical issues are going to happen in a virtual world. And we've already experienced that. However, I think that there's, let me see something else here. Let me see.
Sure.
Okay. Okay. You can watch the replay. The reality, though, Tyler, is the audience still has to produce results with your engagement.
Mm-hmm.
They have to be able to know and understand what the subject matter is, and it's almost like safety. Safety is a huge concern in industry as well. Right now, I mean, the focus on safety, it might not be fall trip hazard, it might be COVID protection, or distancing and things like that. So how do you engage? What are some techniques that you use to keep people engaged in a virtual platform for training?
One of the things is to go over the benefits of using the technology that is available to them, but also discussing the other side of the coin and what can happen if you're not using it. For example, one of the things I ask any of my attendees is, do you wear a personal CO monitor when you practice? And the majority of them say no if they're in person, or if they chime in through a question and answer on our webinars, they'll say no. And in my industry, in the HVAC industry and in the industrial space, we have one of the highest rates of dementia and Alzheimer's of any other service industry. And if someone is not wearing a personal CO monitor, which I recommend, a combustion analyzer, which is what I'm teaching a class on in combustion analysis, a combustion analyzer acts as a personal CO monitor. And I go over the fact that they can use it for that, which they never knew. And I go over how they can keep themselves safe and how they can keep the occupants safe. And by doing so, keep them out of liability, because there are numerous contractors that have been sued for a great deal of money because they were the last technician that was there. And a lot of people are not aware that not only can people sue the company that you work for, but they can also sue you personally and go after your personal assets. And we've witnessed that before. So in keeping them engaged, it's not a fear or scare tactic that we use. It's a reality tactic. Because when manufacturers want technicians to do a combustion analysis, they're trying to pass off liability from themselves onto you. And we're also even seeing this with certain townships where the building inspectors are asking technicians to do it to verify that a system is set up correctly when it's installed. So it comes down to a lot of it is liability. So I engage them that way, but I also give them tips and techniques and protocols and ways for them to make money using a combustion analyzer, because it is a safety tool. Yes. Are we making sure things are running more efficiently by using one? Yes. But it's also a way to diagnose problems with the system and to make money with it, because we can increase somebody's efficiency, which we can increase their amount of money they keep in their own pocket, but we can also assist them or assist the technician in making a sale, because it no longer comes down to, oh, just take my word for it. I saw this, it was making the sound. Those days are done, because with an analyzer or the tool like this, you can actually show the homeowner or business owner on the screen, so this is what's going on. This is how it's misbehaving. So if for some reason my explanation wasn't good enough, here's your visual proof. And then worst case scenario, if they want to see it reproduce, you can reproduce the exact same symptoms again by hooking it up and doing it again. So it's a way to justify what you're saying. And what we're doing too, Russ, is we're meeting our customer base where they're at. And by that, I mean, everybody's using technology, cell phones, apps, and the like. Well, the products and the instrumentation in the HVAC industry come with apps. So we're actually able to show them on an app that they would use on their phone. We're showing the exact same type of app we're using on our phone that is actually showing them what their combustion is doing, how it's behaving. We can have different charts and graphs that can be generated. So it really goes a long way to completing the picture. So between the safety and the way to make money and the way to proper explain things to your customer, I think that's has provided a nice engaging platform where we have the retainership that we do. And again, by not being product heavy, nobody's tuning out. Nobody's tuning out. So that helps.
Well, I think also consumers, individual homeowners, and people that are engaged in the actual hardware that you're supporting or servicing, even in a commercial building, they need to understand that there's a certain part of the equation that they have to actually participate in. They have to recognize that there are things they're going to have to do. It's just like regular maintenance, either, like filters, changing filters out, the efficiency that you lose by having dirty filters, and some of that information is very important for people to understand, and how to communicate that. It's like the technician could come in and just say, hey, you got to do this. It's like, well, explain why you have to do this. Explain what the benefits are, and start engaging people, like you said, where they are.
Right. And it's important for people to, obviously, you need to actively manage every aspect of your life, but you also need to actively manage the mechanicals in your home or business. You are the homeowner, you're the business owner. You've paid for this, you've made an investment. It doesn't mean you turn a blind eye and just say, I'm going to hand it over to the professional strictly. No, you want to be informed, and you want to know exactly what's going on. And it takes a proactive approach. You have to forward think to be able to plan properly and to be able to give advice to a technician. That's the first thing when I teach too, is I tell technicians, and I learned this from one of my mentors, is to say hello to the house or to say hello to the building, which means you ask the homeowner or the building owner, anything different since the last time we were here? Any odd sounds that you're hearing? Anything smell weird? Are you getting hot spots and cold spots? Things misbehaving, things shutting off prematurely? So this way it gives us in the mechanical field kind of a starting off point, and then we can take it from there. Because again, at the end of the day, we're the experts. We know what we're doing. We're the ones that have been trained.
Yeah.
And another thing when it comes down to instrumentation like this too, is that in this field, and it's changing for the better, but in the past, because we come home at the end of the day with a little bit of grit underneath our fingernails and a little bit dirty, sometimes people might look down upon us a little bit and think that maybe we're not intelligent. Well, I think with the training that we provide in the industry and the training that I'm trying to do at Sauermann and my colleagues as well, is that, you know what? We're not the ones that sat in the back of shop class and failed. We're actually the ones that are pretty intelligent, and we take great pride in what we do. When I teach a tech, or I go over the technicians, we're working in a wonderful industry, and you should hang your head high and take pride in what you do. And that seems to be an increasing trend around the industry, because it's very difficult to find good service technicians. So when you have one, you want to, obviously if you're a company, you want to hold on to them. But if you are one, you want to take great pride in what you do.
Well, and I think that goes to a bigger conversation as well, around the idea that there are so many technologies going into industry right now, regardless of the industry, construction, contracting, HVAC, air conditioning, is all of these things are becoming connected, and instruments and feedback loops, and so you can actually read out dialysis and diagnostics on the phone, and they have apps in them. They're all IP based. They're going IP based, and people have to realize that takes a lot of skill. It takes a lot of knowledge. It takes a lot of training, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with the trades. There's people in the trades making a very good income, and they're doing great work, and it's necessary. And my bigger fear is that people are not getting in the trades because there's this perception that has been promoted. You got to go to college and be something. Right. And it's like you could actually have a trade and go to trade, get in the trades and get trained and skilled and have an amazing life and an opportunity and help a lot of people out in that. So.
Yeah, and it changed my paradigm. I mean, I went to 4-year college. I have a bachelor's in finance and a bachelor's in economics. So I'm a nerd and a pocket protector guy by design. But getting into the trades, some years after graduating and getting exposed to it, I had a newfound respect instantly. I already respected, but it really opened my eyes. So it's kind of like, it's one of those life lessons where you want to look beyond the bridge of your nose and see what's in front of you, because the sun doesn't rise and set on my nice bald head. And it's once I realized that and looked beyond that, I really was able to embrace the mechanical fields. And when you learn that you can make a very comfortable income for yourself and you can provide for your family, but not only that, you're adding to society. You're solving problems. You are. And there's a lot to be said for somebody who can actually think and fix things on their feet. Yeah. When you're a service technician, you're trying to fix something, your cell phone's going off on your hip because your office is trying to give you more service calls. The homeowner or business owner is in your hula hoop, breathing hot mustard breath in the back of your neck, asking you why it isn't fixed yet and how come you don't know what you're doing when you do. But they need to get out of your hula hoop so you can think for a second. And then you're trying to obviously diagnose the issue and then fix it and then test it. So there's a lot that goes into that. And what I go over with everybody is what they assume is their everyday normal, which is their natural inclination to fix things. It's not normal. Most people can't do what they do. And the last time I checked, these folks called us to solve their problem because they couldn't solve it themselves. So they should, again, have great respect for what they do, because outside of the four walls of their life or outside of the confines of their life, it's very difficult to find someone that can actually think on their feet and fix things, properly. Yeah.
And I have all the respect in the world for those. I grew up in commercial construction and in the trades, and, I've experienced many of the, I've built a couple of homes and created, things from nothing and, figured things out. And it's really when you're in that bubble and you're thinking everybody knows this, and you have to realize that not everybody knows this. Right. So you have to, and those that don't know and need help, hire a professional, hire somebody that has the instrumentation and the expertise to actually repair and replace or fix what you're challenged with, whatever's broken in your house. Like the other day, I'll give you a perfect example. My sister wanted to, we live here in Arizona. We support mom and dad. Dad passed away last year. And so we're here caring for mom and dad, and wanted to replace a light. And this house has aluminum wiring because it was built because of the home. And so it's like, sis, I could replace a light bulb and things like that. It's like, I think we should get an electrician here and install this new light fixture, because we had one that went out. And I said, because mom and dad, they actually had a house fire because some of the electrical, shorted out and overheated years ago in here. So you have to be, and if you're not aware of things like that, copper on aluminum and little details like that, and how to adjust for that, you can create some circumstances that are not healthy. So. Sure.
And if you try to, there's an expression that if you try to DIY everything, you're going to go to the hospital for most things. And because you're trying to fix everything, you're going to get yourself hurt, or you're going to cause some kind of damage or harm to yourself or others. Yeah. And also cause damage to your home. It's funny, everybody wants to go for the cheapest price for everything. And nowadays, and in our mechanical field, the things that people get from us, they don't get any social mileage out of. It's not a flat screen TV hanging on the wall. It's not a nice car. It's not a nice lawn. It's not something that you can use as a showpiece. Right. The only ones that care about having a proper technician come out and do a combustion analysis or electrician to change wiring properly, because the only people that care about doing that are the people that have a proper magnetic north on how their decisions are, governed within themselves. And we encourage people to try to really do that, but you'll find that, again, people go after the cheapest thing. Case in point, when people go for those carbon monoxide detectors in the big box stores. Yeah. They're not effective. I teach that in the classes. They're not effective. They go off after 1 to 3 hours of very high levels of exposure where someone can actually get sick. And the comment will be, oh, it was only $17. Well, there's an old rule of thumb, Russ, and you've heard it before, I'm sure. You never want to hand your family's health over to the lowest bidder. It usually doesn't work out very well. But people will do it all the time. Yeah, they'll do it all the time. So interesting circumstances they place themselves in by the way that they make decisions. Yeah,
well, and I think a lot of municipalities also have this idea that if they put a rule in place that it has to be a new construction or something like that, that people would adhere to the do it right scenario versus just get by with what I can get by with.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate, but don't allow your health to be determined by, the lowest bidder. So it's like one of those things that you have to think about. So any projections on when you're going to be back on the road, or after Thanksgiving, you said? And
after Thanksgiving is the goal, and we have to see how conditions are. And, there's certain scenarios that I can go into where the facilities are maintained properly, that people are, tested, or they at least take their temperatures before entering. So I've been in my industry, from what I've been told anyway, I've been very aggressive in going out and traveling. And probably much to my family's chagrin that I've been a little aggressive in going out and traveling. But as I told you before, I felt completely safe.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to getting out again, because that's where I engage the most. It's standing in front of an audience, whether it's 5 people or an audience of, over 500 people. I've done it all. It doesn't matter. Either way, it's all very exciting, and it's always new every time you do it. It's like being a musician and going on stage. It's always cool. It's always cool. And the faces that are looking back at you want to learn something, and they're receptive, as long as you're providing material that is well put together and that you actually have an engaging way of involving your audience and understanding what they're there for. You have to know your audience and be able to teach them accordingly. So again, I'm hoping to get out after Thanksgiving is the goal, and then we'll see what the world has, because I have partners over in Europe that a lot of the European areas are being shut down, and we don't know if that's going to be a full trickle-down effect as it gets into our country, and people acting that way and shutting things down here. We shall see.
Yeah. Hawkins says, bless you, brothers. I'm in producer mode. This is driving me nuts. I know that LinkedIn, I was talking to a group of individuals, and this is the same thing on technology across the board. LinkedIn has LinkedIn Live. However, it doesn't always work. And what he's experiencing is echo and some feedback on that. So what he said also was, Hakan said, what little I gleaned from the conversation, though, I have been in support. Have you turned on your computer? Hey, turn on. It's like, is the any key working? It's like, I'm sorry, Hakan, that didn't work. And Jimmy says, also, target excellence, deliver authenticity, and never disappoint. I really, as we go through, and Gabriel's been here. He's what's up, gentlemen? Thank you so much for being here, Gabe. He has another show in the evenings, typically made from scratch broadcast. It's awesome. He's an amazing individual that does a lot.
I'll have to check it out
there. Yeah, go check it out. And for anyone that hasn't connected with you, how is the best way to connect with you online or learning more? I'm doing a little bit more in the industry. I'd like to expand the show to have conversations around industries that are being impacted and changing and evolving. So how's the best way for people to connect with you, Tyler?
The best way at this juncture is through my LinkedIn, which is listed in the contact information on probably in the bottom of this video. So that at this point is the best way to get a hold of me. That will have my email address, and people can contact me that way, or message me on LinkedIn. And then we can, I can pursue it further with them, whether they want to set up a class if they're a contractor or they're a distributor. Because I do classes for distributors, I do them for contractors, I do them for trade groups. I've been a national speaker for different national conventions, for different manufacturers and different symposiums. So But that's probably the best way to do it. And I will be happy to engage and look forward to, the additional fruits of being a pirate and the fact that you were nice enough to have me today, given the technical difficulties and maybe it was the hair advice comment that just shut the whole Comcast down. I really don't know.
The internet rebelled.
Yeah, something there happened, but in any event, it was nice to finally get back on again and to connect with you. It's
always a pleasure.
Been wonderful.
I've enjoyed the conversation and enjoyed the opportunity to have a little bit of insight into the industry. And I want to expand that a little bit more. And I know that there's people out there that are in need of that. And so I look forward to future conversations and connections as well. So
excellent.
Well, thank you so much, everyone. I know that we went over, we had some technical difficulties, and in the end, we came back. We enjoyed ourselves. We had a good conversation, and we learned a little bit about HVAC and instrumentation and helping people out. And that's what it's all about, is helping each other get to the next place that we're looking for and searching on. So as always, kindness is cool. Smiles are free. And you enjoy the day. Take care. Don't go away, Tyler. Thank you for joining the Pirate Broadcast. If you found this content valuable, please like, comment, and share it across your social media channels. I would love the opportunity to help others grow in their business. The Pirate Syndicate is a platform where you show up, we produce the show. It's that easy. If you want to be seen, be heard, and be talked about, join the Pirate Syndicate today.